So let me find the right chord. Nah. Okay, here we go.
I hit this button here, and I do this button here, and the swinging shooting. Let's go! Hello, Internet! This is Sneaky Devil of Fanfiction Contempt Theater. I hope you're all having a good night tonight, because it's about to get worse. Alright, let me just bring this on up over here. Play some F-Zero GX music. I don't want to get struck. Sneaky drinks Kool-Aid. That's false. I have not in years. I'm a goblin. You cannot prove this. Alright, so since I'm alone, we're just gonna get right on into it. I don't have to introduce anyone. I don't have to be friendly with anyone. I can just say, fuck you all, and let's go. So, that's exactly what's happening tonight. Let me just get this going, and switch her to Rooney. Of course, as per Twitch guidelines, I'm required to remind you all to at no point in time contact any of the people featured in this fan fiction podcast, because Twitch thinks that's harassment. So, I'm gonna go ping that person that brought this story to my attention. Let's see, where are they? Is it this guy here? Yeah, it is this guy here. We're doing that thing. So, anyway, I'm glad everyone's here tonight. Everyone's gonna be having fun with this. So this is a Remnants Stenritter. Now, I know you all love both Ruby and Bleach. That's clearly your favorite subjects, and you will never get tired of any of those. Clearly, there is no point in covering anything else. But don't worry, guys. Don't. Where's my puke emote? You know what? If I get more subs, I can add more emotes, and then I can add a puke. And there you go, kitty. So there's your motivation. Get more people and get them all to sub to me, and then I'll be able to add a puke emote so everyone can go empty themselves of their suffering. But so this is Remnant Stinmetter. This is John Ark, lowercase a, that's key, has always considered himself weak, but what happens when he disappears, only to reappear anew? M for safety in case of explicit language, or X-spliced sans. Chief, I shilled this out to two whole people. You know what? I appreciate you shilling it out to two whole people, but those two people aren't here. So I don't know what to tell you. You failed at shilling. You got an F. They have lives? What kind of fucking person has a life? That's a bit too much whiskey. Anyway, so the author, of course, starts off his fan fiction with the ever-eternal plea to go easy on him, which I find amusing. This is the first time I've ever done this. Please go easy on me. No? Why'd I do that? Sounds dumb. And, there is a limit, though. I will give people credit where credit is due. I'm not going to expect someone to be a narrative genius on their first run of fan fiction. However, I will expect a few things of people, just generally, even beyond fan fiction. Grasp of the English language, ability to write a sentence, the ability to spell a word, various little low-level things like that. Another fascinating self-insert John fic. You can't forget the part where he gets replaced by a clone. Wow, that's what makes it unique. Then, John shifted miserably, holding all of jars of nectar he had collected. Thoughts jerks of Team Cardinal. Nobody real cared, or that's how he felt, not his team, not his part. He didn't feel himself, he didn't feel his team, he didn't feel his partner, he didn't feel his sisters, and he didn't feel his father, and he didn't feel his mother either. I do appreciate this John not feeling these people. And he left his family at a young age and met up with his uncle and asked if he could stay with him. Fucking out of left field, but okay. However, it was not enjoyable. But at least he met his best friend there, and so not many tears were shed when his uncle died. His best friend left to track down the man who murdered Jay and Uncle and his family. He soon was able to find a way to get into Bacon and had never been to combat school for obvious reasons. What obvious reasons? No, really, what obvious reasons? Like, apparently Signal is just a normal school that also teaches kids how to fight. Like, what? What? It was a dream of his to go to Bacon and become huntsman, but he knew his chances were very low. You know, probably improve those chances is training. Just saying. You know. Obviously, he spent most of his time being bent over and railed by his uncle. Yeah, probably. And now here he was doing slave labor for some jerks. Not really slave labor, but okay. Just then he heard a rustle. He dropped the jars and grabbed his sword. "Who's there?" he asked, trying to sound strong. Then he heard, "Wait, I know that voice." A guy about June's age stepped out holding shotgun. "John?" he asked. "Baz?" asked June. Baz, weapon disintegrated, and John sheathed his sword. They went and hugged. "Oh, it's been so long, buddy. You look great," said John, "and you're still as scraggy as I last saw you," said Baz. Baz was John's best friend. Baz had flame. It's Baz from Bleach. Okay. "So how have you been?" asked John. "I have been great, John. I have been training, and I have been many techniques. I feel confident I can kill that bastard." "You should come with me," said Baz. "No, I can't," said John. "Okay, then this is going goodbye. I'm going to go somewhere else, Earth." Fuck this, I don't care. Well, don't worry, Art, it's almost over. How the hell did some random son of a bitch invade Beacon? John's eyes widened. "You can open the gate of the sun." What? He asked. "You better believe it. And once I go through, I'll train a bit longer in a non-Rishi or aura-filled atmosphere. Therefore, I can become even stronger. Anyways, I've got to go now. Bye, John." John then thought he would probably get stronger if he went with Baz, and he would get to travel with Baz this way. Also, what did he have, Har? "Nothing, Baz. Wait," John said. Baz turned towards John. "Yeah," he asked. Heck, I'll help you, Baz, but I'll need lot of training. As it stands, I'm useless, said John. Oh, don't worry, John, I can train you. I'm a genius after all, said Baz. Thanks, Baz, smiled John, and he dropped the nectar. If those jerks want it, they can get it themselves, said John. Wait, said Baz, I have an idea. Yeah, he already dropped his nectar before, so he's dropping his other nectar now. They had snuck to a low ridge just above Team Cardinal. Grr, how long does it take to fetch sap? Growled Cardin, standing up. Then a jar flew out of nowhere and smashed on his chest. Russell got up. What the? He said, as one hit him too. Dove then got up and one hit him in the face. Boom, 10 points, cried a voice. They turned to see John and a red-haired boy throwing the jars at them, then throwing one at the sky. Hey, you wanted 4 jars, Cardi boy? John mocked. Boom, cried John and Baz both waved. Wave. You're dead, Ark. I'm telling good witches. Why is the smartest card it has ever been in this stupid fucking story? I don't give a fuck, cried John. Yeah, John, cried Baz. High number 5ing him. Oh, God. I am way too sober to finish this story. One moment. Okay, let's continue. And you might want to tell your big friend first, said John. All 4 boys turned to see huge Ursa behind them. They screamed and ran. Hey, that's what you get for being fucking lazy, cried Baz. They both clanged a jar of syrup together and drank the sweet liquid. That's, okay. Then Baz opened the fucking tree sap, by the way. I don't have indigestion. Then Baz opened the gate of the sun and walked through. John smirked that they then followed Baz through the gate. Fucking what? 5 years later. Oh. Wow. That was the quickest time skip I have ever seen. Please never read this again. Don't worry, I won't. 5 years passed like the blink of an eye, and they all and all they did was stay deep within the forest to improve their skills. Baz was fine according to him. He was naturally talented, but John hadn't made any progress in his Quincy powers. What? But to make up with it, to make up with it, and people have already given up. Yeah. I'll call them all back after I'm done this one. Oh god. To make up with it, he trained in swordsmanship and archery until he had undoubtedly mastered it. It troubled Baz because it meant he wouldn't be much of a sparring partner, but then again, it also meant John had skills Baz didn't have. Like he now was more proficient in the art of the sword and the art of the archery. So Baz kept him around and they continued to walk through the forest. Implying that Baz wouldn't keep John around if he wasn't good with the bow? It was a few hours when they heard sound of horses. They both went to the ridge where they came in a trench path, saw soldiers of Army of the Man who killed their families. What? Why, wait, why is some Japanese, like, general of an army just, wait, what? Alright, come on, His Majesty has ordered us to find Quincy, who is worthy, and let him know His Majesty is starting a new vanguard unit, said leader. Hey Baz, there they are. We need some news on them, and here they are. Maybe we should follow them or something. Oh, I know what we're doing, said Baz. Baz grabbed John's hand and hauled him along the trench. Hey, he called. They then come in front of him. It's a interesting way to word that sentence. I am Baz, and this is John, and we want to join your Stenritter thing. When did he say Stenritter? What? 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 Wait, what? Wait, Baz, let's consider this. The soldiers started to march on. Wait, where are you going? We want to join. Yes, well, to do that, you have to go to the palace in Silvern in order to enter exam to do that. Said soldier who continued to ride. See that, Baz, now? Why don't we go there and join the army or something? But it didn't stop him as Baz fired an arrow in the soldier's way. How about this? We fight, and if I win, you give me your position in the army. What? What are the rules of this fanfiction contempt thing? No porn. Uh, that's about it. Not how that typically works. Jesus Christ. I'm done. I'm done with this thing. Apparently, your watch shows up and he starts kicking the shit out of Baz, and then he's like, "You can join my army because I can see your potential." And it's just, I don't. I don't know what the fuck is going here. Dawn's gonna be the greatest of the badasses and the most amazing skill set. I don't gun Quincy's and shotgun bullets and hail siege. I don't I don't I don't I was I'm too sober for this. I like how some of those streams, like, you can only submit fanfic of X category. Nah, man, you can submit whatever the hell you want. You have to do it on the Discord, of course, because I don't allow links in my chat. The past incidents, of course. But yeah, just join on the Discord. You can drop whatever links you want, and I mean, as long as it doesn't break the Twitch terms of service or the fanfiction.net terms of service, I'll fucking read it. As long as I know what it is, because there's a lot of fandoms out there I don't know, and it wouldn't be as amusing to watch me complain about something I have no idea about. So.
Hey, Sneaky.
Oh, hey, Orf. Wow, congratulations. Thank you for joining me. I was getting fucking lonely now that my goddamn co-hosts are gone.
Yeah, I just got home from work. Otherwise, I would have come on earlier.
Well, I mean, you just missed this amazing, majestical Bleach Ruby crossover that killed half of my viewing platform because the author both doesn't know how to spell basic English words, doesn't know what a sentence is, doesn't know what a paragraph is, doesn't know what pacing is, doesn't know how to structure narrative, and also doesn't know what they're writing, according to this author's note here.
That sounds like I really am glad I just got home.
Yeah, I'm already 3 mixed drinks in.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
But this is a 2-drink minimum show.
Yeah, this is definitely a 2-drink minimum show. Only if look, I can only drink so fast and do my podcast at the same time. Trust me, I'd be far deeper in this bottle if I wasn't the one talking about shit. So how you doing today, Orf? Don't mind me as I vamp while I'm making another one.
I'm doing all right.
That's good to hear. That's always good to hear. I heard you were writing more recently. Anything good? Or am I just going to complain about it if I hear about it?
I mean, it's basically a Naruto in name only, but I'm rebuilding Remnant from the world up, and already in the middle of an independence war, so that's fun.
I wish I had some level of care, because I would totally do a Naruto Ruby story, because I've already done one with Ryder / Cool Rune, or whatever name he goes by these days. You know, I've already done one. I'm already in a full arc. Yeah, I'm already almost 80k words into the story.
Yeah.
And I just don't give a damn enough to both fix Ruby and simultaneously tell an original Naruto Ruby crossover story.
Well, my particular angle on it was to just have Naruto completely, like, just canon adjacent.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Well, I mean, I brought Naruto in myself when he was like 4 fucking years old, so he's basically got entire development left, but, you know.
What I did was one of those universe fusions that you're so wary of.
Now, don't get me wrong, universe fusions can work, and I had fucking Mothballs on here. I'm sure you know who Mothballs is.
What's he written?
Is it Shards of Remnant, whatever the fuck it's called? The largest Naruto Ruby story on fanfiction.net?
Uh,
Like
I'm not sure if I've read
13,000.
that.
Yeah, 13,000. Don't. It sucks.
Uh-huh.
13,000 favorites or whatever. It's fucking biggest story on the entire crossover section. But, no, it
Right.
sucked. I mean, he fully admits that it absolutely sucks. He was trying to do a world fusion and, like, 40 chapters in and, like, 200k words in, he realized, holy shit, this doesn't fucking work.
Yeah. Well, when I say world fusion, I more mean the Naruto characters were born in remnants. I'm just like, I'm not even gonna try it.
Honestly, that's just really in name only. That's like the purest form of in name only, where it's like I didn't even try to do a crossover. It's just, hey guys, here's this meat sack named Naruto. He loves ramen, but he doesn't have chakra, and he was born on Remnant. And he's got aura and a semblance. Also, Konoha doesn't exist, and his parents are probably named Minato and Kushina, but they don't fucking matter.
Yeah, see, I went down a very... The thing is, my stories in general are already very AU. Like, a common theme amongst my fan base is to mention how I put canon into a cannon.
Yeah,
and shoot as far away as I can.
Honestly, I give advice to people to just make their own stories at that point. You know, if you're so AU that, you know, it's not even remotely resembling beyond superficial character looks,
Yeah.
just write your own original story. Just go full fucking 50 Shades of Grey it. Remove all exact mentions to the exact same power. You know, call it something new. The inner spiritual energy, the Aurora energy. Just publish your own fucking story at that point. You're putting so much effort in. You might as well just write your own story and actually make money from it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I got on fanfiction when I was a senior in high school, specifically so that I could become a better writer. And I know that seems counterintuitive.
No,
with
I
hindsight.
absolutely, wholeheartedly endorse using fan fiction to become a better writer because it's fan fiction, and while it does come with its own separate restrictions and its own separate rule set of how you have to work things for it to be an actual fiction of a fandom, but it is definitely a way to get better at writing as long as you know those rules because. There's so many people that don't really know, like, the unspoken rules of writing a fanfic that they never actually improve at writing. Like, it's the sort of people that you give them what was the example I used last time? Like a color in the lines picture book.
Yeah.
And they kind of just take a crayon and just jam it all over the place. It's like, there's a guideline right there. You just have to follow it, and you can get better at it. But people don't.
Yeah. No, I got you. And you're not completely wrong. I think the big reason why, because like I've already dedicated myself to a project where I'm going to be like, fuck you, Miles and Carrie. I was talking about this on the server. Fuck you, Miles and Carrie. I'm going to show you how to write Remnant.
Bring me and Cruel Rune into that, and we can probably do some sort of fucking big document ourselves on
it. Yeah, I might do that. But I never felt that way with Naruto, because as many mistakes as Kishimoto made, Naruto is still a fully functioning, cohesive world.
I put fandom into 3 categories. So tell me if you agree with me on this one. So I put fandoms into 3 categories. You got your first category of fandom. Story is done just right. Sure, little things here and there probably could have been, tweaked to your personal preference. But more or less, by the time you get to the end of the official story, you're like, I'm satisfied. I'm ready to move on, and I just really enjoyed this, and that's all.
There have only been 3 franchises that are fit that for me.
It's very few far between. Dragon Maid Kobayashi is one of those for me. Where I'm
Well,
just
for
like,
me, the
yep.
only ones are like American novels.
Oh,
It's
fair enough,
Lord of the
yeah.
Rings, Narnia, and The Wheel of Time.
Just generally not interested in seeing more in terms of fan
Oh,
takes.
no. Well, the thing is, like, Wheel of Time is my favorite series, my favorite novel series of all
Right.
time. I would not write a fan fiction about it because I feel like it would be an insult.
Well, yeah, that's kind of my point. Where you're just like, I'm up for more official content, but I'm just really not interested in the fandom. You
Yeah,
know.
and I would be up for more official content if Jordan didn't die.
And yeah, it's unfortunate. And then
Yep.
you have your second group, which is stories that did just well enough that you kind of want to search for fan fiction of. Like, it's familiar of Zero, it's Worm, it's Naruto, where the story in of itself is both okay, but also very open to fan Platoing, I guess you could say.
It's the series where the world is fun. It's a fun sandbox. You don't hate the characters, and there's just enough there that you want to theory craft.
It's consistent enough. It's got its own fleshed out rule set. Yeah. And then you have your third series, which is the shit group.
Mm-hmm.
It's Ruby. It's, One Piece. It's Bleach, these series that you're just like, what the fuck? Why are there so many plot holes? I could write something better while blind. And there is a limit there too. I would almost say there's a fourth group, but I'm not going to say there's a fourth group, where it's just, this is so bad, I just don't want to see this at all, period. And then
Yeah.
it's so bad, I want to see a better version of it. And that's where Ruby falls in for me, because it's an interesting world. Monty is a creative man, and I will give him credit for that. It is an interesting world. It's just he's not a writer.
Yeah, he's an animator. He's not a writer. It was a passion project, and
Yeah.
Rooster Teeth happened to have the funding, and Monty had the name.
Why do I have so many pings? Okay. I was being pinged by someone. All right, go ahead, Monty.
Monty had the name, and Rooster Teeth had the money.
Yeah.
People recognized Monty from Dead Fantasy, and they're like, he makes fucking awesome fight scenes. And then you had the trailers, which were literally just the fight scenes.
Yeah.
And Yang's bad voice acting. Um,
She has such a big ego now. Have you ever seen her Twitter?
Yang or Barbara?
Yang's voice actor.
Yeah, Barbara.
Yeah.
No, I don't really get on Twitter.
Oh, holy shit! You don't. That's my hearty recommendation to everyone. Never get on Twitter. You're gonna say stupid shit, and you're gonna see stupid shit.
I made a Twitter account literally this year only because of the Vic Mignogna stuff.
All right.
Just
well,
wanted to.
Anyway, so
Yeah.
you said you write Fusion World. Let me introduce you to my second arch nemesis.
Yeah. Dyslexic.
So, my boy here, Dyslexic, is a purveyor of the shit fanfiction genre. He is a connoisseur of absolutely the most retarded stories beyond Fairy Tail Dragon Slayer, of course. Fairy Tail Dragon Slayer holds that crown. But he is the jester of that court. And not the jester in the court of he's a funny jester, but he's the kind of jester you laugh at, not laugh with.
Yeah.
So, this shitbag here has written 70 stories. And in the 6 years this fellow has been writing stories, he has not improved. Or if he has improved, it's at the speed of frozen molasses being eaten by a dead snail. Stuck in a glacier on Pluto. So, This guy, he is sort of like North-South Gorham. You might have not heard of him. He's more in the Naruto section.
Who?
North-South Gorham.
No.
He was mildly popular for a little while because he was updating his stories a bunch. And so the main problem with this guy in the North-South Gorham is they have created an Undertale universe. And by that I mean they have their own little AU of reality that then intrudes upon various stories. And it's called the Outsider Chronicles. And it's basically a way to have really overpowered characters who are meta-aware of the story and can pull powers out of their ass at any point in time in case the author ever writes themselves into a corner or they want to style on someone they hate in a genre. So listen to this outsider OC framework. An outsider is a term for a soul from one world who died and was reborn into another world they recognize as fictional. Their presence acts as a magnet and draws other worlds together to create multi-crossovers naturally. They tend to be very powerful and do not follow the rules of the world they were born into, as well as having connections to the multi-crossover worlds so they can interact with the characters of worlds outside of what they were born into. Outsiders are not limited to original characters, but can also include main characters from other fictions that recognize they are being born into a fictional world. Attempting to take control of an outsider will result in the possessor being crushed and absorbed into the outsider's soul, granting them all the knowledge of that person. When it comes to measuring power, an outsider is always stronger than everyone else in the world.
Why am I getting like weird SI Isekai Kingdom Hearts vibes?
Because that's exactly what's fucking going on here. And in case you didn't think that was bad enough, outsider mode. A final form only powerful outsiders can enter.
Right, because there's a discernible and functional difference in strength with all of the requisites you've already given me.
In this state, they have the ability to become Zelrich and use the powers of every other outsider.
Okay. Sure.
While in this state, no one can give them orders, especially the Watchers and the Almighty God.
Now this is just sounding like edgy atheist power fantasy.
They are driven into a feral state, driven to follow their most powerful desire. In this state, all outsiders bear an 8-pointed star. Holy shit, they are the chaos! They must be purged! Oh.
You see, this is why I don't read fan fiction anymore. I just write it.
Yeah,
like,
no, it is. And this guy is popular. This is the worst part. It's the whole reason why I'm even bothering to talk about this guy is that he's popular and his stories are popular. And it's just like, how fucking desperate are okay, that answers my own question. Is all I have to do is look at the Korean Japanese novel scene, and I can tell how exactly desperate people are for shit. But it's just like, how desperate are people that they see this garbage and they go, oh, thank you, more please. But anyway, so it gets worse.
Oh boy.
Their body bears an 8-pointed star because they bring chaos wherever they go. They also glow, and their hair transforms into a nebula.
I'm not entirely sure what that statement means.
What do you mean?
Their hair turns into a nebula, like literally, like
Mm,
the star,
yeah.
the proto stars.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Suffer not the witch. Exactly, Alvor. Suffer not the witch. Suffer not the heretic. Suffer not the mutant. And suffer not the Xeno.
Also, Isley is a degenerate.
Of course, Isley's a degenerate. Sigmar bless.
She's
Emperor
over there
protects.
saying she's over there saying the exact reasons that I don't read fan fiction or why she reads it.
Oh, fucking Isley goes out and finds the most degenerate shit possible to, accidentally read in front of her brother while she's naked. So, I'm not really
in front of who she calls Shota Isley.
Mm-hmm.
I'm worried for Shota Isley.
Oh, I'm worried for Shota Isley too. My shield is contempt. Exactly, sir. Because this is fan fiction contempt theater, and we must shield ourselves from this cancer-causing word diarrhea with our contempt and hatred. In the Emperor's name! I hope someone clips that.
Knowing the people on your server, probably.
Sensory powers. Outsiders are more attuned to the spirit world than any other soul. As a result, they sense things that no one else can, and they always know what's going to happen. And they can tell whenever people lie. Also, this sense is often accompanied by hallucinations and is terrifying to the outsider, as they are presented with something with so much more power than them, they can't win against it. Yes, that's right, everyone. You have to fight hallucinations.
Alright, so what we're dealing with so far is people with star hair, the power of chaos, stronger than eldritch abominations, who can beat the Watchers and the Outsiders from Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Like that tier.
Yep.
All because they understand that. All because they see through the Matrix.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Seems about right. That there's nothing wrong with this, and there will be no balancing issues
whatsoever. Are you
whatsoever.
ready for the biggest ass pull of them all, though? Beyond everything else that I have talked about here, I have a larger ass pull for you.
All right, lay it on me.
World magnetism.
World magnetism.
World magnetism. This trait, present in all outsiders, results in worlds being drawn together, making massive multi-fusions, causing characters who would have never met to meet. While sometimes this is the result of outsiders bringing together worlds, more commonly it's because the outsider twists together different timelines, causing them to have always known the main characters and no one ever questioning this.
Oh boy. And how popular is this?
Oh, just you'll see in a second.
Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. Mm-hmm.
I'm sure we will.
Uh-huh. So, canon cap. A subconscious limiter every outsider places upon themselves. It is basically there to prevent an outsider from obliterating timelines from the immediate start, allowing the outsider to talk and interact with all the other characters before finally revealing their true nature and testing the resolve of their friends and comrades. Complete removal is impossible, but if pushed far enough, outsiders can deactivate this and get into outsider mode to derail themselves from the stations of canon. However, once outsider mode fades away, the cap is back in place, limiting the outsider once again.
Of course.
Yep.
Of course it is.
Yep.
There's
Literally, it's the excuse of, this is why my character, who is super strong and powerful, isn't changing canon, but if I want to change canon, they also now have the ability to.
pretty much it is reverse plot armor, except it also comes with plot armor because if they're pushed hard enough, they'll just go full Christian
This isn't
God
even
with
my
a capital
final
G.
form.
Yeah. They will obliterate everything in front of them, and nothing can actually kill them because.
Other notes. While
Mhm.
no one can tell what an outsider is, certain beings can tell what an outsider is. These beings are often beings of incredible power and age and can read the souls of an outsider. Only extra-dimensional or omnipotent beings are capable of conceptually understanding what an outsider is. Link? Alright, yeah, sure. Hello, C8. So anyway, then he literally has. You see this bar? See where this bar is? See how high up here it is? The entirety of this scroll bar is original characters for Fate Stay Night, Naruto, Warframe, and Bleach. And they're all super strong and impossible to beat. Light speed, immense demonic power, super sensing, holy resistance. Demon King of Britannia. Kill authorities gained. Killed Arthur Pendragon, gained all of his abilities. Impressive intellect. His armor is made out of angels.
Sneaky, you consistently make me worry about the state of humanity.
Oh, it just keeps going, and it keeps going, and it keeps going. Oh, he also included some really lame copy and paste jokes in here. Fanfiction United Nations.
Mhm.
It's got some sort of fucking edgy Q&A for one of his OCs on here. Oh, he's done it for multiple? Oh god, he keeps doing it!
Keeps doing what?
He keeps doing these, like, question and answer sessions with all of his OCs.
Oh.
And then he's got some really shit, like, quotes and stuff. Like, the only one who can break those strings is God himself. Strings break. I guess that makes me stronger than God. Kafka Blade. I don't even know what some of these. I think he's got some fucking dialogue between Naruto characters and his OCs. It's just like, what? Let's see what the chat's going. The chat. I believe I've lost people and then gained more people. I appreciate so many people showing up for this just absolute destruction of this guy. All right, so in his you asked how many favorites and follows he gets. So he used to get a lot, but now he averages around 200 to 300. Let's see, 500. Can I actually?
I think there's a sort by favorites.
Sort by reviews, and he's got it's pretty low. So 500. Oh, there's 1,000. Yeah. So I mean, he was decently pop. You know, he's not breaking like the triple digits, but you know, he's fairly popular for what he is, and what he is garbage.
Yeah.
He's got 70 freaking stories, and three different stories are just travel stories where he just puts whatever into them. Like Outsider Chronicles, Breaking the Curse. Being reborn is a pain in the ass, as any outsider will tell you. However, at least most are born as their own person. I wasn't so lucky, and now I have to be one of the most hated characters in anime. Self-insert Sasuke character fanfiction.
I'm not sure what the qualifications for one of the most hated characters is, but I'm pretty sure Sasuke is not that person.
Sasuke. No, I have met so many Sasuke apologists.
Okay, look. I will be a part 1 Sasuke apologist because Itachi literally mind raped Sasuke as a small child. Like,
I'll give you that. Yeah.
He was tortured for 72 hours to the point he was put in a coma as a 7-year-old. I feel like a little bit of edginess and brooding is fair.
So Alvor says Odysseus is basically a Gary Stu with his weakness being his ego. Now, I have a counterpoint to that. Is I've actually met people in real life who were like captain of the football team, you know, star of track, and they also took all honors classes and had a 4.0 GPA. I've met those people, and their weakness was in fact their ego. So like, they exist. Sorry I was gone. Twitch froze on the ad. Yeah, the ads do that. What did I miss? Nothing. We're done with the author. We're going to go back into this garbage. So, do you know Konosuba at all?
I haven't read the light novels, but I've seen all the anime. I enjoy the series.
Do you really? I could not stand the series.
Okay, so here's the thing with Konosuba. You don't watch it as an anime. You watch it as an isekai abridged series. It's meant to be a parody of isekai.
Well, no, and I get that, and don't get me wrong, I've derived humor from it, but the problem is I've played over almost 5,000 hours of Dota.
Yeah.
And watching Konosuba gave me PTSD flashbacks of Dota and my teams in Dota.
Right.
And I was just like, I can't do this.
Yeah. I think the thing is, Konosuba is... And I said it's a parody, it's a comedy, it's also a slice of life. But it seems to advertise itself as an action adventure shonen. Or at the very least, that's what people think it is, because that's what all the isekai are.
Fair enough.
So I think it's just a case of it's suffering for the things in the same genre when it's not supposed to be treated as the same thing. Like how Tanya's technically an isekai, but it's actually more like a deconstructed isekai. And so a lot of people that are looking for isekai don't like Tanya.
Is it really? People don't like Tanya the Evil?
I feel like it might be might have something to do with the Imperial German symbolism for some people. But yeah, there's been a fair few people I've met that didn't like Tanya.
Look, all I'm saying is that art school did nothing wrong denying Hitler's application.
Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying, yeah. The art
in all
school did
honesty,
nothing wrong denying his application.
look. Here's the thing. Here's the thing that I didn't realize until my friend Oliver, who's in the chat, explained to me.
Yeah.
You know how Hitler was actually a pretty good artist, right?
Yes.
His application was rejected by a modern art school.
I'm not surprised at all.
So if he had applied to like an actual like classical art school in Austria, then he probably would have been accepted.
Yeah.
And he would just be an Austrian war hero, and that's
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. How different the world would have been.
Yeah.
Tanya my chat agrees. Tanya the Evil is great.
It is. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I do have to couch that and only watch the anime. The manga is very slow to update, and while I love the manga, the anime is faster so far.
Well, that's not an issue with the manga. That's an issue with the fact that it started as a light. It's a light novel.
Well, I was gonna get to that. The problem here is that the light novel it's like reading a fantasy story. If in the middle of the fantasy story, Atlas Shrugged had sex with the Odyssey.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, okay. So, I was here for the fantasy, but I guess I'm getting my doctorate on economics.
Obviously. Yeah, most light novels that go straight to anime have trouble with the manga actually being produced.
Yeah,
and updated. Like I think Slime suffers from the same issue.
I originally read. Isabel, I have been trying to tell you before. I don't allow links in my chat due to previous incidents. You're gonna have to join the Discord and drop the link if you want it to be covered. But no, I've had that problem before with Shield Hero and a couple other ones. But I originally read Slime as the light novel, so not even the light novel. But I read it as the web novel originally.
Yeah.
And I've come to the point, and this is kind of why I read fan fiction so much, where I don't want to read new content unless it's been completed, because at this point, it's so long between updates, like official updates, that it's just like, why bother? When I can just go read some variations of a story I already know, and I don't really have to spend time and energy trying to remember this completely original setting.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
But enough about that. Let's cover some Konosuba then. How about some Naruto Konosuba? How do you feel about that
one? My expectations are low.
Your expectations should remain low, and your displeasure and disappointment will be immense. So this is a shinobi's take on a wonderful world, and this story has around 2,000 favorites, so everyone should keep that in mind. Naruto instead of Kazuma sounds fucking awful. Well, get ready because it gets worse. So now I will say I don't particularly like Konosuba, but I know enough about it to read a fan fiction for it, and I did find a My Hero Academia story in which Deku, what was it? The month before canon events start in My Hero Academia, ends up dying and, going into Konosuba.
Yeah.
And the author has said that he's not going to be replacing Kazuma.
Right.
But it is taking place at the exact same time Kazuma normally would have entered in the world. So he does end up meeting Megumin. He does end up meeting Darkness. He does end up meeting.
Right.
But
So
there's some original characters, and some of the canon events go differently, and he's
it's
handling
a
everything differently.
parallel plot line story.
Yeah, sort of. But it's very good. It is so good, and I went to go how I ended up getting these fanfics that I'm about to read is that I went on and used Zexi's Flipper app, and using the story that I liked as a base, I tried to find other similar stories of a similar recommendation level, and
That was a mistake.
they were all shit.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
They were all shit. Every last one of them could not find a single good story. They're all here on the list now because they're all shit.
Oh, I believe that. Konosuba is not easy to write well. I had a plan for one,
The
but
problem with writing Konosuba is that you actually have to have a sense of humor.
Mhm.
And as we've seen on my podcast before, people who mark their story as humor and parody, 90% of the time, don't know what a joke is if it was explained to them.
Yeah. A lot of issues is people try and put humor in as an aside,
Thank you for the follow, Isabel.
but it doesn't really work that well because they force it, or
Yeah.
it's something that belongs in a correct. Like I think
Everyone did the anime sweat droop and the face vaults into ground at the stupid thing.
Yeah. I think one of the issues though is that people that write serious stories try and lighten it with humor, and people that write crack stories try and get serious halfway through, and neither of those work very well.
Yeah,
Like
that's unfortunate.
you have to know what kind of story you're writing and keep it that way. There can be some lighter or serious moments depending on if you're doing a serious or a crack story, but if you go too far one way or too far the other, then that's when you lose everyone.
Yeah, I'm fixing the Discord link. Give me a second. Yeah, it is it's something that I actually was told about my own story. The Dark Souls one that I was writing.
Mm-hmm.
Is that I was told several times by different people that I actually managed to get a decent balance between it being Dark Souls and having lighthearted, amusing moments. Now,
Yeah.
I obviously have no judge of humor because my ability to originally make jokes is about that of a rotting potato.
Well, I think that's the point, though. If if it happens organically without you trying to do it, it's just the characters interacting in a particular way, the way that they would interact organically.
Right.
Then that's
Then it's
one
funny.
thing.
Yeah.
That's one thing. But when you try and force jokes in, that's when it gets to the point that no one wants to read it.
Zeke says that I don't make jokes, I just produce quotes like they're going out of style. Well, I appreciate those kind words. Also, Isabel, the link should work now if it updated properly. But we've done enough distracting ourselves from the horrors ahead. Have I ever heard of Creasy, the webcomic? Nope, never heard of it. This is a shinobi's take on this wonderful world. Kazuma already had enough trouble looking after the problem children, a priest that causes more harm than good, a hot-headed mage that is only good for one spell a day, and a perverted crusader that can't swing a sword to save her life. Why not add a loudmouth ninja who yearns to stand out to it? Rated T for prude humor. Now, I will say this is probably one of the worst ways to do crossovers.
Mm-hmm.
Is that having multiple main characters, and I say that in a way of this is a story where Kazuma gets Naruto as a side character, or at least that's how it's being portrayed.
Yeah.
And the problem is with main characters being added in as side characters to another story is that main characters have a high tendency of not being really fleshed out, of not being really worked on, because the whole purpose of the story is to flesh the main character out, is to work on the main character, is to turn them into a finalized creation of a backstory and etc. Like, the backstory you see on an NPC, that is what the arc of the main character is.
Yeah.
So, bringing them in as a side character to another story doesn't really work, because now you have to split the story's focus between Kazuma in this instance and also making Naruto into something other than just a cardboard cutout.
No, I agree with that. It's having. I think the issue is you can have. I think you can do deuterogonists, but it's difficult. You need to know how to do a balancing act, which, let's face it, most writers on fan fiction don't understand the word pacing, let alone how to pace two different main character story arcs simultaneously. Which is why I think parallel plot lines are such a better way to go about if you're going to do crossovers, because you can let canon progress as it's supposed to and follow the other character that you're crossing over into it, and then showcase
Yes, that's true.
the adjacencies and the indirect
Now,
influence.
my counterpoint to that is this is again a point of personal preference. Of course, obviously, everything I say is a point of personal preference. I'm not a published author. I'm not Coral Iran. I don't run a newspaper. I don't run a magazine. I'm not some head editor at a company just giving advice on my off time. I'm not in a paid position. I don't have any sort of doctorates or degrees for writing. But I find parallel stories, especially in fan fiction, to be very easily the quickest way to lose an audience. Now, I say the different. This is actually separate from a visual medium. Game of Thrones, of course, showcases this excellently. Parallel stories. But the problem is, and the difference here is that when it comes to visual mediums, and obviously having a large team behind you is part of the visual medium, be it movie or show, is you can constantly produce the content required to keep people interested. But especially when you're writing, as most people write alone, and that's understandable, most writing is done alone. It's very rare that you'll ever find someone you can co-op author with on a personal project, because you have a personal vision for something, and it's usually only in shows where you have a large amount of people working together naturally that you would have multiple writers on the case. But I'm currently reading a Witcher 3 Game of Thrones crossover, and in the first arc, the first 90k words of the story was all from Geralt's point of view, with an occasional scene or two from someone else's point of view that progressed the storyline. It wasn't just their point of view from a scene that just happened. It was
Yeah.
still progressing the timeline. But now, in the newest arc, when the Red Comet lands, Siri showed back up. Rob Stark is now doing things in the north. They got something going on at Storm's End, and it's following Geralt, and it's also following what's her face, bitch, Queen of the Dragons. He's got like 5 different viewpoints now, and every single chapter that passes now, and he still has the same update rate. But every chapter that passes now, instead of covering weeks of content, months of content, covers like days from 5 different characters, some of which I didn't come here to read, because again, this is part of the rules of what separates fan fiction from original fiction, is that fan fiction is going to attract certain people to come read it. I'm going to go read Witcher fan fiction. I'm also going to only specifically read fan fiction of Witcher that features Geralt in it. I don't care about other Witcher characters, so I'm only going to read Witcher Geralt fiction. And when you introduce other characters, say you got popular just featuring Geralt, and suddenly you feature 4 other characters that aren't Geralt, who are also taking up all of Geralt's screen time, it's a really good way to lose your audience. Now, admittedly, you're not going to lose all of them, or maybe even a majority of them, because maybe they're like, oh, well, actually, I like the other characters, so I'm going to stick around. And, again, personal preference here. But when you're splitting the timelines, when you're splitting the scenes constantly, it definitely ruins your pacing. And you have to be exceptionally good at writing to maintain pacing between constantly splitting points of view. So I heartily do not recommend that to a lot of fan fiction authors, because as you said yourself, a lot of fan fiction authors are amateurs who this is maybe their attempts at getting better at writing, and that's definitely a more advanced writing path. Just like I wouldn't recommend someone learn how to ride the unicycle before they learn how to ride a bicycle. Maybe I'm wrong, but
No, your point is fair. Both, I think both. The thing is, both deuterogonists and parallel plot lines are more advanced aspects of a writing style that you have to have a good foundation for. And many of the writers don't have a foundation for various reasons, which is fine. Like coming onto the site, you don't necessarily need a foundation or anything besides basic understanding of how the English language works, and some people don't even have that.
Yeah.
However, I think one of the big reasons that because I saw a marked improvement in my own ability to write within like the first 6 weeks, more so than my ability to write in the previous 4 years of my education at public American school, for whatever that's worth.
Not much.
But it was because I was getting reviews in a section that was popular, because I've always written Naruto stuff, and because I started off not with one Naruto story but with several, there was a lot of overlap between the different stories I had going, and so I got a lot of reviews and had a lot of improvement because a lot of people were giving me advice, and also the fact that a couple of my early stories featured OP godlike harem Naruto, because I
so
knew that
very
was
popular.
Yeah. Like that was actually a strategic move on my part. Those are popular.
Sure. I'm sure it was. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I don't even like harems. Like, I don't. You can ask Oliver in the chat. Like, I know him personally, and I actually kind of detest the idea of harems in fiction. There's only been one story I've ever read that did a harem correctly. That was, again, Wheel of Time. So I have pretty high standards for what it should be, but I at this point, if I see anyone with the harem tag on their story, I'll just steer clear of it, which is the reason why I've only read like 3 stories in the Harry Potter section.
But yeah, it's it's with Naruto I can sort of get it because you're in a world where
It's feudal Japan. Like,
well, not only that, but you're also in a world where your life expectancy as a ninja is, hey, you made it to 30. That's like really impressive, and that's like, oh,
yeah,
you know, most
yeah,
people dying before
it's
they hit menopause. That's some life expectancy you got there.
for sure. And in Naruto, and I guess, well, the thing to an extent, Harry Potter makes sense as well if you have well, the thing is, if you have some understanding of the actual world that it's in, there is
There is no understanding of the Harry Potter world. I'm sorry, my
okay,
dude.
no, I don't remember the math. Oliver was explaining it to me. There's like the number of wizards worldwide is
No.
something in like the tens of thousands.
We don't. Yeah, I got it, Isabel. I don't know anything about Phineas and Ferb. I saw my cousin watch it like twice. I couldn't comment on it at all. I'm sorry. But yeah, no, I get the idea behind it. Low numbers, gotta repopulate, yada yada. It's just
Yeah,
my problem with harems in Harry Potter.
is it that no one does it well?
Well, yes, obviously, you can't do a harem well. Like you can do a harem cracky, like Saint Infernal Neos, the god of Sao, does. But no, you can't write a harem well because it usually ends up two ways. It's either shit, where you end up with the main pairing and the other girls are kind of just like sexual fuck buddies who also love the main character.
Mm-hmm.
Because, this isn't a knock against anyone's writing skills, but having so many characters have romantic interactions with the main character draws away from whatever the point of the story is. Unless the point of the story is porn, then of course you can write a harem well if all you're doing is writing sex scene after sex scene. But if you're
Yeah,
actually trying to tell a story that isn't just porn, then you can't have romantic interactions with so many characters because that takes up screen time, it takes up word count, it takes up plot progression.
yeah. I think there's limited ways to write one well, but there's diminishing returns, and I personally don't think you can have any hope of writing one well over like 4 or 5 girls. That's the most you could do, and that would take a talented writer with much more care about the
Yeah.
genre than I have. Um,
It's not just low numbers, it's also a very low rate of reproduction. Well, actually, the low rate of reproduction of lizards is actually due to inbreeding. Um, it's a known effect of inbreeding is both the inability to inbreed further because you'll just have stillbirth, but also prevalent is infertility because it's nature's way of saying stop fucking your sister.
yeah. Um,
But harems just don't work in Harry Potter because the modern values of a British person.
mhm.
Of course, I'm not gonna be like, oh, Harry Potter is very thickly British. Because Harry Potter is basically kept in a fucking cupboard for 10 years of his life. So
Yeah.
he's not gonna have so many sort of hyper British patriotism and deeply immersed in the Britishisms of Britain.
Yeah,
But at
but
the
Harry
same
is
time,
he's generally a good person.
yes,
Um,
but being a good person doesn't translate to I'm gonna get me some girls, yo. To get some
Oh no, no,
girl Joe.
I was agreeing with you. He's extremely socially awkward, and yes, he's a hero, but I don't think like looking at a lot of issues he has and juxtaposing it against like IRL stuff that goes on with similar situations, he could. I figure he could barely handle one girl and would constantly be worrying about whether he was being a better father figure than Vernon was towards him.
Yes. Yeah, actually, yes.
Like
Yeah, 100% agree with you on that.
there's a lot of trauma that should be happening with Harry's character that neither Rowling nor
Yeah.
most writers
Yeah.
actually emphasize unless they're going for Dark Lord Harry Potter.
One method that I saw that I was actually highly amused by was a harem fic called Poker Night, I believe it was.
Mhm.
And
I think
the
I saw you
general
post that.
the general premise was that Harry wins the servitude of two girls during poker night because they bet themselves, and he's convinced to keep them by the girls because something something culture something something, and so he keeps them on and treats them nicely, and he makes them feel loved and welcome, and they're like, well, we don't want to leave now because you're
Yeah.
a nice, strong, powerful, rich, good-looking male.
Yeah.
It's like, well, okay, I'm not shocked by that, and other girls get in on it, and other girls are, some girls are brought in because of the humor of it, like, oh, it was a piece of paper that flew through, out a window and into someone's stack of papers, and they signed it accidentally, and it went to someone else, and they signed it accidentally, and oh, actually, it was a slave contract, and by reading it, it becomes valid. It's like some
Yeah.
of it was played up for humor, but
Mhm.
the premise itself was that Harry was just a nice person, and so people were like, well, he's rich, good looking, and likes me. I'm
Mhm.
gonna stay here. This is a pretty good life.
Which, to be fair, Harry is about as hard to get to like you as Naruto is, and by that I mean literally anyone that shows them not even a modicum of affection, just doesn't abuse them. That's all it takes to get
Yeah.
them to like you. Like, I think that's one big reason why I don't read
No,
yaoi.
no, don't even bring up that foul degeneracy.
No, well,
Alvor
like,
says that he's
yeah.
unaware of any fic actually doing a Turkish harem, and no, actually, I have seen one fic where I believe it was a Harry Potter story, where the harem was no, it was either a Harry Potter or a Sao story, in which the harem was actually written in the true sense of the word harem, and that it was styled after a Turkish harem with all of the backstabbing and poisoning that entails in that. And I found it to be very well done. There was the main girl, there was the people just trying to just slide in. It was a very well done story. I wish I remember the name of it, but for the life of me right now, I am oh
That's
oh
okay.
oh
It's probably in your favorites
oh
that you need to cleanse.
uh yes, but also at the same time, fanfiction.net needs to stop restricting my favorites list because it's only showing 50% of it now. And it's not even like the 500 most recent. It's like
Yeah.
500 randomly selected from my list of 1,000 favorites.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an even worse representation of what I currently endorse.
Yeah, so just cleanse it.
I can't, because the other problem that fanfiction.net has is when you cleanse fanfiction from your favorites and follows sections,
Mm-hmm.
it will randomly select other fanfics to also remove.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, like I remember one time I was removing like 10 or so fanfics that I didn't really want to follow anymore from an author. and it ended up removing like 25. But it just didn't tell me. And then I was searching for fanfic one day, and I saw one of the stories that I used to follow had updated, and I'm like, what? I didn't get an email from this. And it turns out I wasn't following the story anymore because fanfiction.net randomly deleted it.
Right.
I was just like, well, fuck, now I can't actually cleanse my favorites and follows, because then I'll lose actually the fics that I'm favorited and followed.
Just write down the ones you actually care about.
I'm not writing down several hundred fics. But anyway, back to this garbage story, and then we can close up for the night.
Alright.
So this is a V2, revised as of 3/21, January, February, March 21st, 2019. Where am I? A boy with bright blonde hair wearing orange clothes danced around a small room with blurry eyes. He tried to recall his memories, but his mind was a bit fuzzy. But he did know that he liked Raman.
Is that in there, or are you just adding that for
that was
effect?
me adding that last part, but still, it's just like this is something that I was actually making fun of with Cruel Rune, in that every single time Naruto is in a story, the author makes sure to tell you three things immediately off the bat: that Naruto has blonde hair, that Naruto has deep ocean blue eyes, and that Naruto likes Ramen.
And I'm the exception to all of those, because I prefer to make Naruto actually Uzumaki.
Yeah, but your stories are trash anyway for different reasons.
Probably.
But it's just like, I'm here reading a Naruto story, probably because I know Naruto, the fandom. I'm hopefully aware what the main character of that fandom looks like.
I think it would be a little bit different if they went into like a long-winded Tolkien style, very detailed description.
Oh
But
god.
it's just like
I've
a
read some of
one-line
those.
description.
I've read some of those. It was like a paragraph, 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs of just description of what Naruto is currently wearing. And it's just like, cut my life into pieces, jab a rusty spike into my skull.
Oh, no, I would at least I think I would at least have a little bit more respect if they went to that much effort to describe something that everyone already knows. Even people that don't watch Naruto know what he looks like.
It's just,
But no,
I remember a story, a Naruto story, that took almost an entire chapter to describe Naruto's room. And I autistically proceeded to find the dimensions of all of the furniture he was given.
yeah.
And also find the dimensions of the spacing between the furniture he was given. And I plotted it all out.
Yeah.
And it was a 60-foot room by 40 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And this was his bedroom. And for no apparent reason. Just double queen beds that were bunk beds on in a dresser that was like 12 feet large. And it's just like, then we skipped ahead. We skipped through a bunch of chapters. We did some quick searching and some skimming. And in the next 25 chapters of that story, The bedroom was never mentioned again.
Of course it wasn't.
There was an entire chapter of over 8,000 words dedicated to this bedroom, and it wasn't plot relevant ever again.
Yeah, that's something that happens a little too much. Um, but I don't think that most writers understand the concept of diminishing returns.
Well, if they did, then they wouldn't be writing.
Probably not.
But no, I find a lot of fanfic writers have two critical flaws in
Only
nearly
two?
every. Well, yes, only two. Like, we're going to ignore grammar, we're going to ignore spelling, and we're going to ignore pacing, because those three things are either not. I'm not gonna say not relevant to storytelling, but grammar and spelling are things you should know without storytelling. Like, you should know grammar and spelling just in general.
Grammar and spelling is either so bad you don't read the story, or it's
Like,
good enough that it doesn't
it's
matter.
not. Yeah, it's not story centric. And
Mhm.
pacing is something that you can never expect people to know, and you can't expect them to ever get a grasp on, because it's sort of like advanced calculus. Not
Yeah.
everyone is going to be able to understand it. There are just a majority of people in this world that will look at advanced calculus and go, I don't speak this language. And I can't fault them for that.
I think another issue is that there's only two styles of writing. It's you either plan everything from the beginning autistically and stick to that plan, which is a very difficult thing to do,
Yeah.
or you write chapter by chapter.
Yeah.
And if you're writing chapter by chapter, then with a vague sense of where the story is going to go, then it's a little bit more difficult to do pacing.
True enough. But anyway, so the two critical things that I find every fanfic author has an issue with: what's relevant, which sort of ties into pacing, but it is more story important that you as an author should really know better if you are going to be writing in general. Like, know your audience, I guess, is a better way of saying it.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I find a lot of authors struggle with absolutely is how best to put this. I won't say know where you're going, because sometimes you can just write a story and be like, I'm gonna go wherever. But I guess the best way to put it is remember where you've been. And these two things I feel like authors have the most trouble with, because they include details that are just not relevant to what they're writing at all. Like, or they include details that are not relevant because the people reading should already know. It's like explaining what chakra is.
Yeah.
When the story's premise is that Naruto is already a Jonin and he's talking to another Jonin, but the author just randomly explains what chakra is in the middle of a dialogue. And it's like, A, the characters don't need to be saying anything about this, and B, your audience should already know what chakra is if they're reading a story about Naruto being a Jonin. And an example of the other thing would be what's a good one for this? Oh, Could use a canon example of a Kishimoto failure.
Yeah.
Back during the Wave arc, where Naruto transformed into a shuriken and hid inside the shadow of another giant shuriken, and was thrown like a shuriken by Sasuke to purposely get behind an anime ninja who was far stronger than him, but they had known this and had planned for it accordingly because the ninja could not move. So therefore, literally anything that would make him dodge, such as a lethal attack to his back and heart, would be a success. And so they executed this plan flawlessly and freed their Jonin sensei.
Yeah.
And then Kishimoto, for the rest of the story, proceeded to treat Naruto like he was mentally handicapped.
No, I agree with you. There are
And
several
I
moments
see this very
like
common
that.
in fan fiction. This is especially common in Ruby as well, where Ruby has issues. She's referred to as a prodigy, but then and again, canonically speaking, because Monty never commented on it, canonically speaking, Ruby caught up with 2 years of coursework in the span of weeks. So she is exceedingly intelligent. She spends her free time coming up with combination moves for her team to perform that, without even training to do them, work out. So she is a strategic and tactical genius. But
Yeah.
in fan fiction, she's like completely flabbergasted by someone throwing a fireball at
Yeah. Which shouldn't really be that way anyways, just considering her semblance probably makes it so that she's basically the Flash and time
Yeah.
moves slower for her.
Or something or other. She turns into rose petals, and now she can turn other people into rose petals. So that was another thing that season 6 did. Is that's a moment of I fucking called it. So everyone always said Ruby's power was to go fast, and the rose petals were some sort of special effect. And my point was that Ruby's power is not to go fast. Her power is actually to telekinetically propel rose petals that she turns into.
Yeah. Well,
And it is, because in season 6, she turns someone else into rose petals and does a twister with them.
well, in the season 4 trailer, as well, when she was fighting the Berengal, she became a cloud of rose petals, split into 3 separate clouds, and then collided into the Berengal. And
And they never did it again.
Yeah, but she that entire trailer is full of things that Ruby never did again. Like, killing a greater Nevermore with a single swipe of her sight and coming down onto a town full of
My power is superior reflexes. Can't dodge a single sword swipe. Superior reflexes.
or the whole thing where what's his name? Mercury took her scythe, and then she was she didn't have her scythe, and so she was supposedly helpless against Mercury when all he has is literally martial arts. And why don't you just, I don't know, use Newton's second law of motion and punch him so hard that he flies into the next town?
She is clearly exceedingly proficient at physics if she's capable of using recoil from an anti-material rifle to propel her through the air.
Yeah.
Because, again, that's not normally possible, and you can't be like, oh, Aura lets her do it, because she's not using Aura to make herself...
No, she's only using Aura to prevent it from, killing her.
Yeah, but she's just
has
firing the gun. So
she has to be running ridiculous calculations through her head on like a Tony Stark level.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, oh, I know, Ruby's actually done. It's like, come on. Like, I can
Yeah.
get the whole social retardation thing with the smart person.
That
It's
might
like,
just be because he's
that
kind of
I
autistic.
get. Don't get me wrong. I can
Yeah.
completely understand that. That makes perfect sense. But when you're like, oh no, she comes up with this plan and it's absolutely fucking stupid and completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
But also, guys, she's super smart and is like a prodigy at physics and science and stuff. And it's like, well, hold on a second. Didn't she also turn Nora into Rose Petals in part 4? I don't know, CA. I completely ignored season 4. I literally fell asleep.
Season 4 is when I stopped watching. I watched long enough to see Tyrion. Thought he was pretty cool.
Ruby
And
suffers
then,
from Nora syndrome, pretty much.
well, actually, the person who introduced me to Ruby actually described Ruby as she looks like she's Gaara, but she's actually Naruto. And
Okay. Yeah.
I still have not found a better way to metaphorically describe Ruby to other
Yeah.
people that haven't watched the show.
No, I'll buy that. I'll buy that. Anyway, so back to this story, and we can finish up, and I'll go to sleep and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So the boy kicked himself for stuttering. Oh, because he was sitting across from a girl who was smiling at him, and he said hi, and he stuttered. And the girl had long silver white hair, and blah blah blah, angel goddess, hello, Naruto Uzumaki. I'm the goddess who will guide you. My name is Eris. There's no easy way to say this, but you died. So that's how it is. I died. Naruto was calm. Eris, can I ask you something? How did it all turn out? Did we win? Yes, the war ended. You defeated Madara Uchiha, and you saved everyone. How did I die then? Well, you see, the mastermind, Black Zetsu, tried to eat your body. Because you were so drained from your battles, it took all your chakra to keep Black Zetsu from attacking your friends with your body. Then you asked Sasuke to kill me along with the Black Zetsu bastard. And Naruto remembered it all as the goddess told him about it. The look on Sasuke's face made me realize I did the right thing. Alright, I'm ready for hell. Seeing the goddess' expression, Naruto raised an eyebrow. What's the matter? Eris quickly stood up, frantic look on her face. Wait, so we're talking about 4th Ninja War Naruto. We're talking about Naruto, post-Sage training, who has
Yeah.
reached an inner equilibrium with himself and the world around him. That Naruto is...
Yeah, I'm reading a little bit ahead, and Naruto's reasoning is that he killed people, and I would like to point out that at no point in the manga whatsoever, or I don't think even the filler arcs, Naruto never killed a single person. He may have talked people into killing themselves, but he never killed a single person. Hinata killed someone, not Naruto.
No, wasn't in the snow filler arc that he burst that guy into a bunch of rainbow particles or whatever?
I don't think so. He hit him and he was wearing the power armor. Insinuation was that he was still alive because Naruto had used Rasengan on the weaker versions of the power armor and they didn't die.
Rainbow Rasengan! Never used again.
Yeah. But yeah, no. The only people that Naruto put down for good were the Paths of Pain, and those were just walking corpses anyways. Like, they weren't alive anymore. They were puppets.
Yeah, and that was actually an important thing because Naruto realized they were just dead bodies being animated, and he was like, oh, I can go all out on them.
Yeah, so legitimately Naruto never killed a single person in canon.
I
And
like this. See, what I like about fanfiction is that you can always get hints of what the author believes from what they're writing in the fanfiction. And this author, from what I can tell, clearly believes that murder is fundamentally wrong, and that even killing in your own self-defense is also wrong.
Yeah. I'd also like to point out that even on the off chance Naruto did kill someone, he is either Buddhist or Shinto. Christian morals don't actually mean anything to him.
Yep.
So killing is not only okay, in certain circles, it is righteous and something to be heralded for, especially in Shintoism.
I mean, Buddhism has its own warrior monks, and they kill people.
Yeah. Because in Buddhism, the monks believe that murder is not evil. It's just murdering an excess that is evil. An excess is basically don't commit a genocide against the village.
Unless it's Muslim. Then they're fine with genociding those.
Muslims aren't real people.
And demonetized, man! We're taking off there. Good night, everybody!
You were so close, Sneaky. So close to monetization.
Anyway, okay, what's the matter? What makes you think you're going to hell? You're a hero or not? I've killed people, of course I'm going to hell. You experience so much pain and loneliness, yet you believe you don't deserve salvation. Now, that's actually a very confusing aspect right there. Because Naruto has, already gone through the waterfall of hatred where he's had to confront himself at his darkest moments and accept himself for who he is and what he is.
Yeah.
He's had to come to an equilibrium with the world around him and his place in the world to become a sage of nature. And he's had to confront his killer of his father figure. He's had to, up until this point, lead people, gather allies, lead a charge against the madman, defend his beliefs. His resolve was tested, and literally this is going up to the point until Uchiha Madara, right up until the point Uchiha Madara was defeated. So the significant amount of your resolve has been tested occurred up until this point.
Naruto is Ninja Jesus.
And on top of all of this, as you said, he is some mix of Buddhist and Shinto.
It's not really clear.
Him murdering
There's also some
people,
Hinduism there.
he would not be like, oh man, I'm going to hell.
Yeah.
Like, at worst, it'd be some brand of, I'm gonna be reincarnated as,
he's already met his previous incarnation as well, the first Hokage.
Yeah.
He knows the story behind. Well, I don't know how far this went into canon because it looks like it was made before Kaguya was a thing. So he may not know about the story. The sage probably didn't tell him the story about
even if
incarnation.
Even if he doesn't know about that, so it's some mix of Shinto and Buddhism. So it's going to be some mix of reincarnation into a lower life form, possibly, or alternatively being in limbo.
Alternatively, he's a sage. That means he's attained enlightenment. That means the cycle is broken.
True, that you are correct, because he's obtained enlightenment, and he will be broken from it and rejoin God. Yeah. So I mean, it's pretty much everything but the scenario the author has put forth in this story could have been a possible reaction from Naruto.
Yes, he's whitewashing the whole story.
Quite literally, he's Christian washing this story.
Which, to be fair, probably exists in the Narutoverse because of the whole Temujin of the West thing, where they just made literally Genghis Khan into a Christian crusader. not sure what Kishimoto's logic on that was.
Look, man, the Japs hate Christians.
Except when they fetishize it.
Except when they fetishize it.
Like in a certain magical index.
Exactly. Or Fire Force. But even then, the Christians are the bad guys.
I think in that one, isn't it that organized religion is the bad guys, not necessarily the Christians?
Well, organized religion is the bad guys, except for the part where the organized religion is represented by Orthodox Christianity nuns.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, organized religion's bad, and you also just happen to have people going around carrying crosses and dressing like nuns from Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Organized religion is bad. Also, look at all these people inspired by Christianity.
All right, look, to be fair, until Christianity popped up, organized religion wasn't that big in Japan. The Buddhists and the Shinto were very decentralized.
Fair enough, fair enough. Anyway. Such a kind goddess is expected of a goddess. I have a proposition. You know, this is another instance. Is Naruto be like, "Are you Kami?" And then she'd be like, "No, I am not Kami. I am the god of death."
She already introduced herself as
Yeah, I know.
heiress,
She
which
said
is
she's the
definitely
heiress.
not,
But what I'm saying is, what should have happened is Naruto should have been like, "Oh, who are you? What's going on? Naruto, you've died. I'm here to usher you on to the, your next stage in life or whatever." And he goes, "Oh, are you Kami or something?"
Well, Kami is still a Christian concept. She would have asked if she was, what is it? Izanami or Izanagi. I don't remember which one's the goddess of death.
It's something or other. And so something or other, like literally just any other situation but the exact one we have here.
Yeah.
I have a proposition for you. Naruto inched back. Are you actually a devil? Yes, some Christian washing right here. Of course not. Haha, I was just kidding. He's a goddess.
He literally has a demon in his stomach, but sure, he's scared of devils.
Yep. She's a goddess, she'll receive divine retribution. Sorry, it won't happen again. Suspicion evident in her eyes. She continued. Blah blah blah, Demon King, blah blah, save them all. Blah blah blah, you want me to save them all? Yes, go save them all. Yes, okay, I'll do it. All I need is my 2 fists. Are you sure you don't want some sort of power to bring along? Naruto tilted his head in confusion and it dawned on him. Kurama, how could he forget about Kurama? I want to bring Kurama with me to this new world, if that's possible. I've already spoken with Kurama and explained the situation. He said okay. Naruto was happy, and then a brilliant light shined and he was teleported into this new world. Of course, there's a small chance both your existences could be wiped out while transporting you to this new world. But as a goddess of luck, I think the odds are in our favor. And that's the first chapter over. Thank God. But still, at the same time, it's just like...
I mean, it's really inconsistent, which can probably be blamed on the fact that most people don't actually know that much about Japan as much as they like anime.
Yeah.
Not as terrible as most of the stuff on your podcast, but I assume the terrible stuff comes later.
It's not as terrible. I mean that's why I'm queuing it up for the Fanfiction Electric Boogaloo edition, which is where we go back and read other fanfics that we previously covered that we were interested in seeing chapter 2 of. Because I'm sure they'll butcher it further. But honestly, that is just like the worst interaction he could have possibly written. I mean, for what it was well done. But that's like saying, congratulations, you managed to not fuck up painting a lawnmower, even if you did, break the engine doing so.
Yeah.
Like, okay, great. I would have appreciated if you didn't fuck the entire thing up fundamentally. But you
I know
did
this author.
technically do it right.
I recognize it. I know I recognize this author. This is the guy that wrote Fox Scroll.
Oh, is he good?
No.
Oh.
No. All right, so I read Fox Scroll because I hate fairy tale, but I love like Juvia as a character is one of my favorite characters.
I see you are a man of culture.
And so I'm not gonna lie to you, I've read literally every single Naruto fairy tale crossover that has Juvia as the pairing because I like Juvia.
That is a bold maneuver.
And I fucking hated Fox Scroll because it went down like this weird, like, there's a bunch of dragons in fairy tale, right? Why would you make an entirely new dragon up to make Naruto the Dragon Slayer of when there's plenty of dragons that didn't have slayers in canon?
Yeah, what was he the slayer of?
The Celestial Dragon.
Oh.
And also, it ended up turning up that it was going to be a Naruto Lucy Juvia pairing, and I fucking hate Lucy.
Lucy is pretty bad, I will say that much.
I'm still at the point where I can't decide whether I hate Lucy or Hermione more.
I would say Hermione, because at least Lucy is mildly arrogant but overly helpful, and at the end of the day, a decent friend.
And
But,
Hermione just kind of casually almost causes a genocide.
Well, yes, but I mean, a lot of the dislike for Lucy stems from her reaction to the main character being an annoying shit.
Yeah.
But honestly, there is not too much about Lucy that is just like, dick alert. But on the other hand,
that's true.
What's the other character we were talking about? Lucy and
Hermione,
right? Hermione is the sort of character, the sort of person that in real life I've probably punched in the face for being that smarmy little shit.
Well, that's good because Emma Watson is basically Hermione IRL.
Yes. No. You know what? No. Here's my personal fan theory about Emma Watson. Is that she played Hermione for so long, she
became Hermione.
Well, no, she forgot that she wasn't actually intelligent.
That's a possibility.
Because Hermione is supposed to be this know-it-all, by-the-books girl, but the problem is that as kids, you obviously don't like anyone who's by the books. And on top of that, though, Hermione is consistently like just a shit friend.
Okay,
like, in Hermione's shit friend.
I will defend Hermione on this one point. She's still a better friend than Ron, but that's not saying much. That's just saying how bad Ron was.
Ron is Ron is what I refer to as a fair weather friend, and this is why personally I don't understand the hatred for Ron. Is I saw Ron as a fair weather friend from the beginning.
Yeah.
He's not the sort of person that you look at and meet and go, I can totally count on this guy to not fuck me over when it comes down to it.
Yeah. The thing about Ron is I think Rowling specifically made him into a character that was easy to hate. Because here's the thing. She was fully intent on killing Ron off during the Prisoner of Azkaban in the Whomping Willow scene. But her editor wouldn't let her. So I think she made Ron hateable as a way to get back at her editor.
Ron was hateable from day one.
That is true.
He literally,
but
I don't care what kind of okay, so
did he actually abandon Harry the way he did in the Goblet of Fire before Book 4 though?
Well, no, but see the thing is that there is a certain level of interaction I will pass off as kids being kids. Like, oh, you have a scar, can I see it? That's just kids being kids. They're interested in things that are considered socially taboo. It's like, whatever.
Yeah.
But then it's like, oh, you're buying food from the food cart? All I got was a delicious sandwich that was made by my mother. It's like, why would you complain about free food being made for you? Like, you had to put zero effort into this food. Zero
Yeah.
anything into this food, and you're gonna complain about and it wasn't like a thin sandwich either. You know, it wasn't like a couple slices of ham. It was a manwich. You know, it was a
It,
thick sandwich, and you're
it
gonna
was
complain about that?
it was something that would fill Molly herself up, which
Like,
is saying something.
that was a thick. So it is clear the mother knows how much she eats, but that is a thick sandwich, and you're
Which
gonna complain
you
about that.
no, bringing that scene up is a good point though, because especially doing that in front of Harry, that seems
Mm.
like that interaction does seem a little bit off considering his past and what we know about his character.
But I mean, like again, but you have to look at it from the perspective of kids, and that's what I try to do when I'm trying to dissect
Mhm.
characters. Okay, so you're a child, you've met another child that you heard was famous, and you're like, oh, cool, do you have a scar? And the kid's like, yeah, I got a scar, and he shows off the scar, and you're like, all right, this guy's pretty cool, and he buys a bunch of food. You're like, oh, neat, that's cool. Again,
Mhm.
that totally in line with kids being kids. But then the step too far, where I start to go, this kid's an asshole, is he sees the food, goes, oh man, that's really cool, you bought all those snacks. Instead of going like, can I have one or something? You go, oh, well, all I got is this thick sandwich that my mother made me because she loves me.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Really, dude? You're gonna complain about that?
Mhm.
Yo, man, can I trade my really thick sandwich for some of your sweets? It's like, that part I can sort of get, but the introduction of the sandwich itself is triggering the asshole flag. And that's sort of been the thing throughout the rest of Harry Potter, is like, upon meeting Slytherins, Ron is immediately just like, fucking filthy snakes! And it's just like, okay, I get a little bit of prejudice. Don't get me wrong. You had older siblings, coming in, talk about their time in school, complain about the Slytherins, but it was the way that J.K. Rowling portrayed it. She
Yeah.
didn't have Ron say, "Oh, you Slytherins, I heard from my brother that you're evil and stuff."
Yeah.
That I would have been like, "Oh, it's kids being kids." But no, Ron's like, fucking snakes! Filthy goddamn crawlers! It's like, okay.
The Gryffindor propaganda campaign is very effective.
Hitting kids before they even get into Gryffindor.
I mean, yeah, that's how you factionalize a country.
But it's just like, okay, again, the asshole flag is tripping. If it's like, my brother said you guys are a bunch of conniving snakes or some shit, I would have been like, alright, fine. That's, that's kids being kids, kids listening to their older siblings.
Mhm.
But he's just like, no, you
And and
snakes.
and just think
Yeah,
if
if
if the
Malfoy hadn't been a little
interactions
shit.
with if the interactions with Draco and Ron had been switched and he
Yeah.
met Ron at the shop and met Draco at the train, the entire series would be different because Harry would be a Slytherin.
Yeah. And I sort of understand, but this is where I'm saying that Ron's always been an asshole from, is J.K. Rowling, whether is it intentional or not, perfectly juxtaposed Ron's bigotry with Malfoy's bigotry.
Mhm.
Because Ron is just the good guy's version of Malfoy.
Yeah. Also, Elver DM'd me to make sure I pointed out that the Slytherins are also all basically filthy rich, so it's class conflict.
Mm. Yeah. But, so, I mean, again, I will always say I'll give credit where credit is due with Rowling.
Hmm.
Her ability to sneak, because another thing that she snuck into the book series was books 1 through 4 went in one direction, and books 4 through 8 went in the other direction, treading back on the same path, bring it, full circle, sort of. And
Right.
basically, the themes that were in book 5 were in book 3, but going the other way, etc., etc. The themes in book 8 were actually the themes in book 1, but going the opposite way. And I'm explaining it poorly, but like, she is actually quite proficient when it comes to writing, thematically and
Well,
technically.
if I recall, similar to Riordan, she was an English teacher.
It's possible.
Um, which is why they're good at writing but they're really terrible at research.
Yeah. Oh
Like
yeah,
Riordan's
a gold
entire
coin. That's worth like £5.
Well, yeah, and it's not just that. Like in the book, it's stated that there's something. I don't know if it's in the book or if it was in like a fan contest or something. But Rowling was like, "Yeah, no, the gold coins are the size of hubcaps," and I'm like, "That's not how you do currency."
Yeah, the gold coins are the size of hubcaps were the thing that was in book 4. It was described by a Muggle towards Harry Potter during the Quidditch World Cup.
Yeah, which
And
is
but
stupid.
something you have to consider
Hmm.
is that during a brief period in time in Britain, hubcaps on cars were actually fist size.
Right. I still don't think that that makes it slightly
They
better,
are,
but
yes, they are still excessively large, but they aren't like fucking arm size, which would have
yeah,
been silly.
yeah, but no. I still stand by my point. Neither Riordan or Rowling know how to do research. Like, especially if you look at like Riordan's war scenes in his series, he has no
Well,
understanding of
a lot of authors don't
tactics.
know how to do research.
Yeah.
Fanfiction authors especially, where they're like, oh yeah, my
Yeah, but
holdout gun is a Smith and Wesson 500.
yeah, but fan fiction are amateurs, and I'm talking about the war
Well,
scenes in Riordan's fifth book, and he was
the
already
only
a best-selling
difference
author.
between an amateur and a professional is that the professional is paid,
That
and
is
that at the
true,
end of the day is the real
but they
difference.
also
The
but the professionals also have editors, an entire team behind them,
Yes,
and
but
no
you
one caught
got to
that.
keep in mind that most editors are there specifically for PR purposes. They
Hmm.
aren't there to make sure what is being written is factually correct.
Yeah.
Because they can easily just say, "Oh, well, that's how the world works in this story."
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Harry Potter is a masterpiece of technical writing, but a shit show of character writing. Hermione is a terrible character. Ron is a terrible character, and I don't mean like they're bad characters as in like bad people. I mean
Hmm.
they aren't enjoyable characters to read about. Hermione's a bitchy know-it-all that is
Yeah.
constantly canonically screeching at Harry to do his work and
Which
pay
is
attention. And then,
probably
especially in
why.
book 5, I think it was, she
Mhm.
sets up an entire class where Harry is supposed to instruct people on how to do spells and shit, and then confronts Harry, not alone, among friends, but she tricks him into coming to a meeting where, in front of all of his peers, she goes, Harry, you need to teach us. I've already put a club together.
Yeah.
That is manipulation of the highest order. It is a shitty thing to do to someone you're supposedly calling a friend. I mean, in the 7th book, Ron, tells them to fuck off, and he fucks off
Mhm.
while they were searching for the relics. But at the same time, it's just like, this is expected behavior from Ron, because fucking since book 1, he's been a flaky little shit.
Well, I think all of this is probably a big reason why she had to make ne- people like Neville and Luna so much more major in the later books.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, Hermione is just a grade A bitch that I don't want to hear about in fanfiction. She
Mhm.
is just, she's so whiny. She's that person, and this is canonical. She's the person that constantly corrects other people and then whines when no one wants to be her friend.
Yeah.
It's like, I know why people don't like me. It's because I'm a grade A asshole. And I'm not gonna bitch and moan about people not wanting to be my friend because I know exactly why they dislike me.
Yeah. The thing with Hermione is, I think the big difference between Hermione and Draco is Draco has a reason to be arrogant. Like, his family wields basically functionally infinite influence, power, and wealth. And Hermione happens to be a little bit better at studying and a little bit more focused than her peers, but she doesn't have much reason to be as arrogant as she is, especially considering she's from a middle class muggle family. Like, her father is a dentist. She's not exactly a noble.
Yeah, well,
You think she'd be a little bit more humble coming in.
I mean, the other problem is, and I suppose it's because I've met these people in real life. I fucking hate them in real life.
Hmm.
So it's obviously gonna color my bias of these characters in written works and in animated works.
Yeah.
But canonically, Hermione is a character whose know-it-all behavior lost her friends and also turned the majority of her peers against her. This is all canonical.
Yeah.
And she got an invitation. And she also not she was not unaware of this. She knew her know-it-all behavior drove people away. She admits this again canonically. She admits this, so she's aware.
Right. And then she refused to change in the new environment
No,
that she was
not
in.
only that. I mean, it's actually worse than that because she gets an invitation to this new environment, new peer group, new everything. She sees a kid needing help. She
Hmm.
says, "I will help you." She goes around, talks to everyone. Hey, have you seen a toad? No. Okay, thank you. Just keep an eye out for a toad. All right. Moves on to the next thing. She does this a bunch. And then she sees Harry Potter and Ron Weasley. And she comes in. Have you seen the toad? No, we haven't. Oh, well, if you see a toad, can you tell us? Oh, wait a second. Are you about to do magic? Yes, I'm about to do magic. And he does a spell and it doesn't work. And she goes, oh, well, you just didn't do it right. I know all about magic. I'm going to tell you about magic now, even though not only are we peers, not only have we not gotten into class yet, not only am I self-aware that my previous behavior of exactly this has driven people away from me, but I'm now going to explain to you, a person who has a magical family, because you've told me that your brothers were the ones to teach you this spell. You have a magical family. You clearly know more about magic than I do in terms of everyday life and how it's used. But regardless of all of this previous information that I know and acknowledge, I am now going to lecture you on how magic operates. And while you could say that's just a kid being a kid, and I would sort of agree with you on that, she continues that behavior. And she continues that behavior to the point where her entire peer group is driven away from her. And Ronald Weasley, the girl she tried to lecture about magic while she was on a train, not having even arrived at school yet and having proven herself to be more knowledgeable in magic than he was by sheer class grades, insults her and tells her that she has no friends because she's a smart know-it-all, and she cries because she knows that, and she doesn't like someone else telling her. And yet, after Harry Potter saves her, after Ron apologizes for insulting her, and after everything that happened of that arc, that little character arc of hers, she doesn't change her behavior at all again. She harps on them about homework. She constantly whines and complains about every negative character trait they might possibly have, even if it was just kids being kids and not wanting to immediately do their homework. And she does this for several years straight. And it is clearly evidence that Harry Potter is a fucking saint that she didn't lose Harry Potter as a friend narratively.
Yeah.
Because nobody likes her. Even years in, she's still not friends with a single other person besides Harry.
Yeah.
She is a terrible character, and I hate her character overall. She's annoying when she shows up in fanfiction because everyone treats her as the weeaboo, not the weeaboo, the wooby. Wooby, that's the word I'm looking for. Everyone treats her as the Wooby character. Everyone treats Amy as the Wooby character. Everyone treats Hermione as the Wooby character. Everyone treats fucking what's in one Nora, not Sakura, Hinata as the Wooby character, as if she doesn't
What's
have
that?
Wooby. Basically the character is misunderstood and needs to be protected because she's actually really sweet, but her actions are just misconstrued.
Gotcha.
It's an inaccurate definition, but that's basically how the fandom treats it.
So what, like a cinnamon roll hiding under a tsundere?
I would say more like a cinnamon roll hiding under sarcasm, shy behavior, or bitchiness.
Gotcha.
Is basically a character that can do no wrong because they're a titty streamer and all the beta males will come to their defense.
Personally, specifically in the case of Hinata, I would prefer the entire fandom just turn her into a yandere, like she was
She deserves
on
to be
her
a
way to
yandere.
becoming.
She
She was a soft yandere in part 1, and then Kishimoto, I guess, like chickened out.
She needs to be a yandere. It's just these characters in general just have so many flaws, and then the fandom just defends them relentlessly. Like, no. They don't deserve to be defended. They're flawed characters, and I have nothing against them being flawed characters. But the way they're portrayed in so many fan fictions, it's actually genuinely a deal breaker for me. And I mean, I have to give credit where credit is due. It's Lucy, the person that brought this whole conversation up, and we're gonna go full circle and finish this conversation on her. She's not portrayed as a woman in fan fiction. As far as I can tell from the not admittedly many.
No, she's generally portrayed as a stereotypical Ojo-sama.
Yeah. She's not portrayed as a woman. And I'll give credit where credit's due. So kudos, Fairytale fandom. You managed to not be cucks. It's 2019, I suppose that's an achievement. But that's where we're gonna cut it off tonight. I appreciate everyone who sticking around. Of course, as always, tell more people about this podcast. The less we talk about fan fiction, the more enjoyable for you guys it is. So I will see you all next time, and thank you, Wolf, for filling in for my fucking useless co-hosts.
Don't worry, I'll just replace them.
Just slowly phase them out. By slowly, I mean immediately. You're all fired. Well, I'll see you guys next time on Tuesday. So that is 4 days from now, right? I can count. See, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. 4 days? I am so fucking good at counting. 4 days from now.
Also very drunk.
There is always more, and it always gets worse. I just saluted an empty fucking screen. I don't even have a camera to salute to.
As I said, very drunk.
Bye.